when you do not regulate the media, it gives you information that infringes on your rights. How, you may ask? My dear friends, what about cases when you have given me information, when the media has given out secret information about plans of our security forces? Cases whereby you have received information that your country is under terror attack, which is unconfirmed. Sometimes I feel like what the media gives us, when it is not regulated, are similarly just mere facts.
Unregulated is the best thing that the world has ever had, that we can have pride in. Unregulated media informs us of the truth that the government does not want us to know.
Welcome to the Great Debaters Contest, Connect Edition. Today we're taking things off the podium and off the stage and just chatting and giving you a fresh, funky new perspective on the Eldoret region debates. I am Mariam Bishar.
And I am Austin Yumbok. Today we have for you members of the GDC Connect team who are students who actually debated earlier in previous seasons, and they're going to give us a more veteran outlook on how the young'uns or the individuals who they passed the mantle to are handling and managing the Great Debaters Contest brand. Now, Edward, introduce yourself.
I'm Edward Njoroge. I'm a student at Nairobi University studying actuarial science, and I debated for Moi Forces Academy in 2013.
Fun fact about you?
I'm fun.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Claire Mushiri. I'm a student at Kenyatta University studying environmental science. I debated for State House Girls in 2014, and I'm a shoe size 3.
Hi, my name is Ron Simiu, an alumni of Moi Forces Academy. I study medicine at Kenyatta University. Fun fact about me, I get into a lot of arguments.
Okay.
How many do you win? How many arguments do you win? What percentage?
I think I win all of them.
We can start an argument on that.
Hello, I'm Shinina Muthiora. I'm a former student at Kenya High School. I debated in the year 2013. I am a biomedical engineering student at Kenyatta University. And a fun fact about me, I'm really passionate about the health of my country, and I believe one day I'm going to be a voice that will change it.
Wow, that's amazing. If we had an audience, we would have them give you a round of applause. Very well. So, Eldoret region, we have Moi Girls Eldoret versus St. Joseph's Girls Kitale. Their motion was unregulated media is a threat to national security. So, Claire, what do you think? What are your opinions on the argument that Moi Girls Eldoret say that unregulated media brings about fear in the general society?
I think the opposite is true. Because once you know that the information you're getting is filtered to some level, then you're left wondering what exactly is going on. What don't I know, and what exactly am I dealing with? So in my perspective, regulated media is actually a cause of fear among people, because you constantly have the opinion that I am only getting a fraction of the information, and I'm left wondering what more is out there. And that leaves room for people to go on social media and spread all kind of bias and propaganda about what is going on, which actually inspires more fear.
Very well. What about you, Shanina? When we're talking about the opposers, St. Joseph's Girls Kitale, they say that access to information, is the main priority. We shouldn't filter, we shouldn't regulate, we should just let it all out and let the common individual discern for themselves.
Okay, while listening to the debate, I realized that they actually spoke about not regulating information means that we are getting the truth out of everything that we are told, which is not the case, because I can tell you anything, I can tell you everything, yes, but maybe what I'm saying is propaganda. You get my point?
Yes, I guess.
And so what I'm saying is, it's okay to regulate information, because it's not a must for us to get everything, but it doesn't mean that if we get everything, if it's not regulated, we're getting the truth. Okay. So that's why I did not agree with them.
Okay.
Yeah, but on the other argument that they had, I totally agree with them.
Very well.
Okay. Recently, we passed, last year I think, we passed a new media bill to regulate information and how it's disseminated, right? And a lot of people felt that it was curtailing our freedom to information and how much the media can tell us. And like she said, we feel like something is being hidden from us when we know that information is regulated. So where exactly is the boundary between protecting national security and keeping national security interests first, and then just keeping people out of the loop, a media blackout of sorts?
Just
so where do we
informing
draw
them.
the line? Yeah. Ron?
In my opinion, public checking of the government is extremely important, but in some instances, some information should never be divulged. So I believe as far as security is concerned, if the information being divulged will bring about insecurity or harm to an individual, it shouldn't. But any other information other than that should be divulged, because it is important for the public to know what the government is doing, so that to avoid them from committing some laws are unconstitutional, and some things should not be performed by a government, but it does it.
Okay.
So in my opinion, that's where the line is drawn on security.
On security.
Yes.
That's interesting because today it's very hard to keep information quiet, especially because of social media. So while it's easy to regulate mainstream media, you can't stop someone from sending a WhatsApp text on information that they may have, or that may just be propaganda, or tweeting, or putting it on any other form, or writing a blog about it. So Edward, how exactly does the government go about regulating media while social media is so widespread and it causes more speculation when they keep information private and other forms of media take over from mainstream?
I don't think the government should. I don't think you should per se regulate the media. To me, any attempt at curtailing the media only creates a market for investigative journalism, the Jichopevu kind of journalism, where you get hints of certain information that, and mind you, majority of the information that is covered by investigative journalism is majorly negative, corruption scandals.
Expository.
Yes. It's more or less expository, right? That's why whistleblowers are such a phenomenon in this day and age. Because when the information leaks, people are in awe of what the government is doing or what a corporation is doing. So any attempt at curtailing that is futile, because the government itself can't curtail social media very accurately. At best, what the government should do is give accurate information and should not deny information that would not be a threat to national security. A real threat to national security would be information that would help the enemy, whichever enemy that is. Any attempt at, let's say, leaking information by itself is illegal. Now, publishing it is an entirely different story. We saw recently that a couple of bloggers got into some trouble with the government because of what they were saying. The question shouldn't be whether they have a right to say it. Of course, you have freedom of expression. It should be, is what you're saying true?
Many terror groups are now using social media to recruit members. Tell me of the Islamic terror groups like ISIS in Syria, Al-Shabaab. They have seen an increase in members of terrorists. Why? Because they have found a platform of increasing membership through media.
I believe media transparency is an important key of success to a developing country like us. I also personally believe that little knowledge is dangerous, and that what we deserve is greater than what we desire.
You've talked about the government being the reference point, the government being the standard for this information is accurate because it came from the government. Now, how do we ensure that that information from the government is credible? Because that's another issue, because we can honestly say that the public sentiment right now, they distrust the government. They actually look for information that discredits the government. How do we handle that? How do we sort of like create a paradigm shift that ensures that the government is the reference point? It's like our dictionary. We need to know the meaning of this word. We go to the dictionary. How do you make the government our dictionary?
I don't think that can happen anytime soon.
That's very pessimistic.
it's not pessimistic. It's true, because the government has continuously done things that have made the public lose confidence in them, and it will take a lot for citizens to gain confidence in the government again, even to lead them. So if you tell me right now to trust whatever the government is saying, I will not, because I have a list long of reasons of why I should not trust the government. They have not, I feel that they have not taken good care of me as it is.
Okay.
And I will not trust anything that you say, because you probably have a hidden agenda that is against me.
Against you?
Very, very, very powerful.
Yeah.
I believe it isn't prudent or wise to completely trust an entity, especially the government.
Okay.
The government is headed by
Prudent or wise, fine.
Especially.
especially the
Okay.
government. First of all, the government is headed by politicians.
Okay.
They have their own personal interests. There's some information they will never divulge if it shows them in a negative light. So it wouldn't be prudent to trust the government
Okay.
completely.
I have
that
a
is.
question for you guys. Recently, Uganda held their national elections, right? And
They held
media
national
in general.
elections. It was more of like a news bulletin.
Okay, news.
This is what we're doing. It's been done.
Yeah.
It's happened.
Yeah.
These are the results.
So-
Let's continue.
That's what's going to happen. I know media is way more regulated in Uganda than it is here.
Yeah.
And there was a very unique phenomenon from our neighbors down south. The hashtag Museveni Decides started in Kenya, oddly enough. But there was a media blackout for about a day during the election when the counting happened and everything, right? So anyone who was on social media, it was impossible to get, internet unless you're using a virtual private network. What kind of precedent do you think that sets for African leaders? Do you think it's ethical first to do that, even when you're saying it's in the interest of national security? And I don't know, what kind of precedent does it set for other African nations, given that we're going into an election year next year, so many other people, I don't want to talk about, I don't want to mention names, so What do you think?
Well, I think that's taking it to a whole other level. That's unimaginable. I don't think I would trust a government after that. I don't think as an African continent, we can allow that to happen. And the
But
fact that we sat down and watched it. Yeah.
We literally watched it happen. We saw everything. And
But what could we do? We can't go and turn on their internet.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, what I think is this. We've seen that happen. So as individuals in democracies, it's our work to ensure that such things don't happen in our own countries. We agree with that for now. Yes? But again, I don't think that their opinion on we can't trust the government is legit, because the reason why we can't trust the government is because the media has made us not to trust them. Not everything the media says about these officials is true.
Wow.
So you're saying
maybe
everyone
the
has vested
politicians are
interests.
just innocent.
So I don't
Everyone
think
has an interest, is what you're saying, right? The media.
Yeah, the media has an interest. The
So who do we
government has
trust
an
then?
interest. So
So
we
who do we
can't.
trust?
But
I
that's
feel
the-
like we need a whole independent body to do that.
So like we should have
Anybody
like
might also
an
get
independent
its
part
own
of the
interest.
government that gives us
No,
information.
not the government.
Yeah?
We can't involve the government, and we cannot involve media in this. We need a whole other independent.
And what will
body.
that
What would we
independent
call
body
it?
do?
I don't know what to call it.
Edward is burning.
Edward is about to
We
kill
already
someone.
do have an independent body. It's called social media. it's the entirely unregulated, unfiltered source of information.
But
Exactly.
Edward,
But
social
you
media is
yourself,
not
you talked
independent
about
entirely.
accuracy.
Yeah, I agree on accuracy. The thing about the information and freedom of expression is that there should be safe spaces, a place where the public can air their views, right? That's why protests are pretty much allowed unless some sort of unrest comes up. That's why you can be able to post on social media. I think China had banned Facebook.
I think they still have.
They actually did. It
Facebook,
actually
YouTube.
forced Mark Zuckerberg to actually come up with like a Chinese Facebook. Like an
It's Mark
app.
Zuckerberg that came up with it.
Yeah,
I thought it was
like
their
an
own
app that
invention.
allows them to use.
He went to China
Yeah.
himself, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Tisk.
Yeah.
Okay.
The beauty of information isn't necessarily that it's accurate, it's that it's open to everyone. Sure, we can argue on whether the media, that's why I'm saying that the beauty of investigative journalism is you can be able to look for information even by yourself, right? And then we're not trusting institutions because they're institutions. I remember there was an ad on radio relating to how you're waiting for the doctor to give you the diagnosis, but they're not even a real doctor. So the idea shouldn't be that we trust the institution because it's the institution. In the scientific field, a lot of the information goes through peer review and a lot of other things before it actually gets published, right? So I think for the media, ethics plays a big role. I don't think information should be hidden. I do understand that there's a lot of interests that go into keeping information. I want my privacy. I don't want to be tracked. I don't want my messages checked. So the question
Anything
is...
suspicious? Are you a threat to national security?
Should we all just give you some
No,
space?
see, the beauty of that question is, I'm not the one who decides whether I'm a threat. There's a body that decides when I'm a threat, why I'm a threat, how I'm a threat, and what should be done to me.
Yeah.
See, that's exactly the entire problem. So they might see the information, they might see me make a joke, and then my text is read, and they say, this guy is saying something suspect. Let's bring him in. Yeah, let's bring him in. And it probably won't be reported that I've been taken in or I've been detained.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to have at least a safe space, right?
Yeah.
I think that the best thing that can happen to the media is that the information be accurate. And finally, with the media, especially with mainstream media, I think it's more important that the information be based on facts. And that facts are something that change every day, they're pretty instantaneous. So I think it would be important that the information, that as the country keeps evolving, that the information be disseminated out there. I can't remember how, I've been hearing for so long that the unemployment rate among the youth is 40%. I've never seen that statistic change, so I'm not sure whether we're making progress or not.
And Njoroge brings forth a very important point. How much information should the government be gathering about its citizens? He was talking about them checking his SMSs to determine whether he's a terrorist.
Yeah.
And I think as a nation, we should be thinking about that.
Okay, wait. Quick question. Hands up, who would feel comfortable if, for national security purposes, the government went through your Twitter feed and read your texts and listened in on your calls?
My Twitter feed, maybe.
Okay, listening on calls and reading
Show of
messages.
Show of hands.
Calls and messages?
I wouldn't be comfortable.
No one here is comfortable with that?
I'm comfortable
For
with
national
everything.
security purposes, let me...
I have
They're
nothing
not
to
doing
hide.
this for okay.
In my
How
opinion,
many feel it's just the principle of privacy? It's not that you want to hide information from the government, it's just to protect your privacy.
you never
Okay.
know what they'll use that information
So it's,
for.
we're almost split halfway. True.
Okay, so basically, to cap it off, media regulation is a balance between individual interests and communal interests. Yeah? What's best for the people and those people who are actually supposed to achieve what the interests of the community and how they do it. So it's actually a balance between the two, individual preferences and communal needs. So do you think that's the case? Is it like a unanimous yes? No? It's a no? Okay, very well. You will answer that on our Twitter feed.
I think everyone should just, sign off.
Yeah, So I have been Austin Yombok. Catch us on Twitter at Great Debaters EA, and please tune in next time.
Buy a smartphone if you don't want to be tracked.
Information is power.
Your freedom ends when it infiltrates on another individual's.
Regulates media for the best of the people.
Okay. Wise words there. There's literally nothing more for me to add. Thank you so much for taking the time to tune in. Catch us next time and engage us online on Twitter at Great Debaters EA. I'm Mariam Bishar. See you next time.